Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another installment of the DeAgostini Collectibles Build the Volkswagen T1 Samba Camper Bus. I am currently working on Pack 23 stages 108 to 112. Now, I do a lot here in this video. I have a lot to show you, so without further ado, let's get started. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another installment of the DeAgostini Collectibles Build the Volkswagen T1 Samba Bus. And I am almost complete with this build. Got a few more packs to go. This is pack 23. 5 more stages included, including stage 108 through 112. This time we're going to be working a lot on the roof a little bit here and on the interior. This has been a fantastic subscription so far, and if you get a chance to purchase this, head over to DeAgostini Collectibles, see if it's available. If it's not, contact them, let them know you're interested in this coming back. Also, let them know you'd love to see the Kiefer Volkswagen Bug come out. I'd love to build that one myself. That was a fantastic build from years back, and I'm sure it would be very popular if they brought back the Volkswagen Bug again. But anyway, as you know, this magazine is full of articles. A lot of research was done by DeAgostini with this. They give us a world of news here. This time they kind of highlight some of the magazines and publications that are involved with Volkswagen. I was a big Hot VW's subscriber back in the day because I have my 72 Volkswagen out in the garage right now. I still own it. So of course, they give us step-by-step on how to install things. They give us some warnings on what to do here in the instructions ahead of time, so that makes it nice. So before we get started, I'd like to go ahead and show you a video about DeAgostini Collectibles. I'll be right back. DeAgostini is your discovery partner into a world of hobbies and interest. They create innovative collectible and build-up model series with engaging narratives on the most fascinating subjects. Explore an exclusive universe of collectibles from classic cars and motorsports to movies and video games. Scale models. Enjoy the experience of building step-by-step our exclusive scale model curated by our experts in design with an exceptional standard and accuracy of high level of details. DeAgostini's collectibles and scale models come with a magazine packed with extensive articles, behind-the-scenes material, little-known information, and rare images that will make you a master of the universe you love. DeAgostini as a brand choice, their expertise goes back decades, and they've earned people's trust around the world. And there you go. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and look at the parts that came in pack 23. Big bag here. It's another inner part of the roof. That's a 108. 109, the right rear interior components. 110, the rear window and tail lights. 111, left rear or left interior components. And 112, once again, another rear window and a tail light assembly. And some LED lights here. Let's get rolling. And let's get started with stage 108, the new roof parts and fitting the body. We have a lot to do here. Those are the parts and the diagram. And right away they give us warning about tightening down the BP10 screws all the way, because obviously everything else fits to the roof. And then we go ahead and fit the rear hatch to the roof. We're going to mount that to inside of the body. Put in all the screws for that. Then we're going to put on the overhead console, fit that down, put a couple screws on that. Then we're going to put in the visors, the sun visors. Very cool there. The rear view mirror goes next, and then we're going to fit that inner panel just like shown. Looks like we only put 4 screws in with that, and that's what it will look like when we're done. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. And here's 108. Just kind of scan across this. Is that inner roof section. This is where we're going to attach the sun visors and mirror to. Let's get a closer look. BP10 and BP04 screws, and here's our roof. A couple of parts already attached there, you can see on the corners. Very nice. Bring over our roof that we assembled in the previous pack, and we're going to work on the back end here. We're going to attach the rear lift gate to this, and here's the lift gate. We're going to go ahead and screw that down right there. I'm going to put in 4 BP04 screws into that, and we'll mount that to the roof here, roof panel. Going into plastics, all we need to do is make it snug. Recommend you get them all 4 started first and then tighten them all down. And I have a towel down to protect the body and the roof and all that. But we're going to go ahead and fit this, see how this fits. Doing a real quick test fit on how everything looks. It looks good actually. Just to make sure everything lines up like it's supposed to, and it looks like it does. It looks like our tailgate is where it needs to be. And I think just to help me along, I'm going to put some tape on this to hold it down. Everything just kind of snaps on it on the roof there, and especially the back end, to make sure the back end is latched in. It did help to make sure that the rear hatch was lifted up while I was doing that, and that works good there. Now the front, same thing with the front. There we go. Just to make sure everything is secure down. Now I can turn this over. There you go. That's what it looks like from underneath. We'll go ahead and put our screws into this. 13 BP10 screws go into this. And these are flange screws. I'm going to get them all started, get them all installed, and I'll be right back. So as an example, you can see how the roof is inserted into its slot, and just make sure that it's as flush as possible and insert it all the way before you put your screw in. And you can see the screw there, it's a flange screw. Get them all started and then tighten them all down. All 10 screws are installed and they are tight. I'll just kind of show you them all. And there you go. Okay, turn this over very carefully here, and there we go. Roof is completely on. Now I can take my tape off. Tape was very helpful at holding things in place. And of course I have the rear tailgate taped down too, so it doesn't swing open and do all kinds of weird things while we're moving this upside down and over and all that. So that is that so far. Now I need to turn it back over. We got to install some stuff still on this. We're not done. I'm going to move this to the side and bring over my top I received with this. We're going to put the sun visors on this and the rear view mirror and the center console. I'll be right back. Now we have to retrieve the parts from pack 22, and that's stage 107. So I never took these out of the bag because I didn't want to lose any of the parts. So I'll go ahead and take these out. We'll get a closer look. Here's the overhead console, which is made of plastic. Remember, these are 107 parts from pack 22. And the sun visors, also made of plastic. These kind of rotate, very nice. And the rear view mirror, and we do have a nice mirror look on that. And the mount for it, very cool. I'm going to go ahead and bring over the overhead console, and that's going to insert on our new roof inner liner. And it's simply just going to go down on top just like that. And we're going to put 2 BPO4 screws in on this from the other side. Yeah, they're both tight. Now we'll go ahead and put on our visors next. And I'll give you a little closer view of this. It's pretty cool. And you can see here on the visors, it kind of has some serrations there. And that's simply just going to insert. Just like that. Do the other side. There we go. Should be good. And both visors are on. Now we'll put on the mirror. And here's our mirror. You can see it has a flat, so make sure you pay attention to that. And it's simply just going to squeeze down, press fit onto that. That's good there. That's how that looks. And we'll bring over our roof, and this is going to press fit in place. And I'm just going to use little tweezers to push it down. There we go. That's good. And the visors are in place. That's how that looks there with the visors in place. Looks good. Now I went ahead and brought over the body. We're going to install that inner roof panel up here on the roof. And if you hear any background noise, I apologize. It's the middle of summer here in southern Arizona, so that's my air conditioner. Here's our panel. And we'll go ahead and put that in place. It's going to go down on 4 spots. Right there. And right there. And again, 4 BPO4 screws will go into this. We got one here, right there, and on the other side, right there and right there. And the last one, I got them all started. This is the last one. I'll tighten it down, and I'll tighten the other 3. And that looks good there. All 4 screws are installed. Go ahead and turn this back over. And that's what that looks like so far with the roof installed. Looks good there. You may have noticed I forgot to pull my tape off before I put the roof on. No fret there, no worries. Simply can take and push up on the roof like that and pull the tape out. Just like that. So there you go. That completes stage 108. Let's head over and do stage 109. For stage 109, the rear right interior. Here's the parts we received for that and the assembly diagram. And right away we work on the armrest on the right rear panel. And some of the safety bars. Secure all those down. Again there. Then we'll insert that into the rear end of the body. I'm going to put some BDO 4 screws. And looks like we put in our exterior trim piece on the bottom of the body. Secure that down with some screws. That's what that looks like. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 109. Let's get a closer look. BPO1, BPO9, BDO4, and BP12. Here's our right interior trim panel. Looks very nice. The safety bars, plastic, armrest, a couple of little chromey pieces there, and our exterior trim piece. Okay, first thing we're going to do is install this armrest. And there's a little spot here where the chrome is missing from when it was attached to the tree. We're going to make sure that's on the bottom so it's not visible from above. And we're going to put our BPO9 screws into this. There we go. That's how that looks there. Now we'll install our rails on top here. And both of these rails appear to be exactly the same, but they actually aren't. Okay, next we're going to install both these rails, and I'm actually doing a test fit right now because they appear to be the same, but you'll notice one is longer than the other on the far end. So that I got them in wrong. I need to put this one on the bottom and the other one on top. And just like that. That's much better. You can see that they are even on the edge there. Now I can go ahead and put my screws into them on the back side. These chrome BP12 screws go in. They have a flange on them. And the last one. That's good there. Looks great. And that's good there. That's how that looks. Now I'll go ahead and install this inside the body. Now I'll go ahead and line this up inside the body here. There's some screw mounts that this goes onto. Here we go. Okay, everything is lined up now on the inside. 8 BD04 screws go into this. I'm going to get them all started, then I'll tighten them down. Okay, all the screws are in, they're tight. That one right there, right there, right there, there, and in the back. Right there, and those two right there. Make sure that your window hinges are out of the way. So it's a good idea that just to tape them to the inside of the window so they're not trapped in between the panel and the body. Now we need to install the latch for this window on the right side. 2 BP09 screws are going to hold that in place. Tighten them down a little bit. And that's good. Now it should latch shut. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and install this exterior trim panel, and it's going to go right here on these mounts right here. Make sure that the longer side of the trim piece is on this side here, and it's going to insert on top of that. It's easier to get them started, believe it or not, with a PHO screwdriver. A little bit larger screwdriver, the screws stay on it better. And all 4 screws are tight. And that completes stage 109. Let's head over and do stage 110. For stage 110, the right tail light, left side door, and right rear corner window. Here's all the parts. There's our assembly diagram. And we're going to be working with these LEDs, being careful with the soldering points on those bulbs that we don't damage those. You can insert that onto the back of the car, screw that down. Then we're also going to get the fuel tank cap, fuel cap assembly installed. That's going to get inserted on the side of the body. Next we're going to work on that rear corner window. You can see that there. And finally attach that other door, it looks like, on the side of the car. Insert the strap for that. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 110. Let me take these out, we'll get a closer look. Here's our rear corner window. Very nice. Our tail light lens and bezel. The fuel filler and cap. The mounting point for the tail light. LED lights. Hinge for the door. And some pins and the hinge once again. BP04, BD08, and BP09. Bring over our little chrome bezel for the taillights, and we're just going to insert these just like they are here into the back. Looks good. Next, we're going to line up the taillight lens to the bezel, the shorter side here and the longer side there. You can see it on the chrome part. That's good there. Now we'll go ahead and install this on the body. And go ahead and put this in. By the illustration, looks like the yellow goes on top. We'll insert that in. And we're going to mount it on the inside with our bracket. I'm going to go ahead and tape it down. There you go, it's all taped down. I'm going to put our bracket on this, and it goes across these 4 points right here. So the BP09 screws go into the plastic holes, and the BD08 screws go on the outside because they're going into metal. And all the screws are in. The screws for metal are on the outside, and the ones for plastic are on the inside, just like I talked about earlier. And remove the tape here. Looks good. And that's what that looks like there. Looks good. Now let's put on the gas cap. Now we go ahead and put our gas cap in on this. So it's going to press fit just like that. We'll bring over the car body and insert this on the car body. I'll show you how that works. Okay, here's our gas cap here. We're just going to insert that down on top, just like that. We're going to put 2 screws into that. 2 BPO4 screws go into that. That's how the door looks. Open it up. And you can see the gas cap in there. Very good. Next, we'll go ahead and put on our rear window. We want to insert it on top first. Insert it down on top. And then we'll press it on the bottom. Perfect. Bring over the door. We're going to put that in next, but we need to put the hinge on here. We have the top hinge already. We just now need the bottom hinge installed. So there's our hinge. It's a metal hinge. It's going to go down in place just like that. 2 BP09 screws go into that. They're going into plastic. Make sure everything's lined up. Looks good. One's in, but it's loose. I'll put the next one in. And they're both snug. Now we can mount our door with the hinge pins. These are the hinge pins right here. You'll see there's some serrations on the end. That's going to help lock that pin in place. So I'll bring the door over. So I got the hinge pin inserted just a little bit. I'm going to put it down on there. Both hinges are lined up. And push it through. And I can use my tweezers here. Perfect. I'll do the other one and I'll be right back. And that one's ready. Perfect. Now on the inside of the door we need to put our little bracket in that holds the strap in place. So we'll put that through the strap. And we'll press fit it, line it up. And we're going to put 2 screws into that. 2 BP09s. Good. It looks great. And there you go. That completes stage 110. Let's head over and do stage 111. 111, I'll work on the left side interior. So this is a longer piece of interior this time on the left side. Got a lot to do here. Here's our assembly diagram. Same thing, we're going to install the window latch and door rest bracket, armrest, a couple of armrests this time. Then our little safety bars, I put those in. And I'm going to do those off camera. I'll show you what I've done with all that because I've showed you that in the previous stage. And then we'll go ahead and install our exterior trim panel, put all our screws in. And I'll do that off camera also. Then we'll insert our interior panel. Down below, put all the screws in. making sure that all of our brackets for the windows are out of the way. We're actually going to secure those window brackets down onto the frame. That looks good. And we're going to install our little door strap up front. Let me get the parts and I will be right back. Here's the parts for 111. Let me take this out, we'll get a closer look. Here's the left side interior panel. Just like the other one, it looks great. A lot of detail there. Exterior trim piece. Little safety rails, armrests, the brackets for the safety rails, and the rear seat stops. BP12, BD04, BP09, and BD08. The seat stop press fit in place. That's that right there. Put in the armrests. These are the BP09 screws that held them in. Both of those are in. And then the safety rails up here were put in, and that's BP12 screws. And you can see all the screws in place for those, and the armrests. Now I need to go ahead and put this inside the car. Now before I install this inside of the bus, I need to install the exterior trim panel, put all the screws in it, because this is going to go over the top of those. So let's do that next. And I got the panel installed on the outside and held it in place with some tape. BP09 screws go into this. I remove the tape that I put on this. And there's the trim panel. Now we can go ahead and install our interior trim panel on the inside. And as you can see, all our screws are in for that trim panel there. Now we can bring over our interior panel and install it. Before you do so, let me show you something. Now these latch mechanisms for the windows, you don't want them to get trapped in between that interior panel. So what I've done is I've taken and I've secured them down before I put the trim panel on. Alright, bring over our trim panel now. We're going to insert that just like we did before. Kind of do the back end first here and get everything else put in. Perfect. And we'll go ahead and put our screws into this. And these are BD04 screws that go into this. So they're going into metal. I'll go ahead and put a little 3-in-1 oil on each of the screw when I insert it in. But we're ready to go with that. Let me put all the screws in and I'll be right back. All 10 screws were put in and tightened down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Next we're going to go ahead and install the window latches. I'm going to go ahead and take my tape off. Okay, I went ahead and removed the tape from the window latches. We're going to put all 3 window latches on this side next with BP09 screws. Going to go in right there for all 3 windows. You have this window here and one up front, that window there. I'll do all 3 of them and I'll be right back. All 3 window latches are installed and they should just latch shut just like that. Perfect. Now I can take my tape off on the back side because these are all set. Now the last thing I do in this stage is I work on the front side door, and this is the limiting strap. We're going to install that onto the body just like I did before. I'm going to take my part I received in this stage, feed that through just like that, and I'm going to screw that down with 2 BD08 screws go into this. Put a little oil on that screw and screw it down. And the last one. Perfect. And that's all I do in this stage for stage 111. Let's head over and do the final stage for this pack, stage 112. Here's stage 112, the final stage for pack 23. Taillight, rear corner windows, and wires. So here's all the parts, and here's the assembly diagram. Go ahead and fit the rear corner window just like we did before, and the rear taillight bezel, it's going to be done a little bit different. We're going to install it first, mount it with the bracket on the back side like we did before, put the lens on, and then we'll install the LED lights on top of that. Then we'll put in these little interior hooks on the left side. Going to install a left chassis support brace. That's in anticipation of installing this onto the chassis, the body onto the chassis, so that's going to go down there. Install the bumper, the front bumper. That looks good there. Now we're going to work with the wiring. We're going to hook up our circuit board wiring. They show us to run our wires a certain way on top of the chassis here, so we'll do that. I'll show you that. And same thing with the other side, run our wiring there too. Get everything plugged into the circuit board there as it should be, and that's where we'll stop. We're that close to finishing up this car. It's fantastic. So let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 112. A lot of wiring there and LED lights and such. Rear window, tail light. Let's get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts, and I'll show you the LEDs and the wires here in a second. Here's that rear window. And of course our tail light and bezel, the mount for it, the 2 mounting brackets for getting our body ready to mount to the chassis. Here's our 2 hook assemblies that go on the inside, and these are designed to hold the wiring in place on the chassis. Here's our LED lights for the taillight. We have 2 sets of shorter wires. They're like extension wires, and 2 longer extension wires for the chassis. BD08, BP09, and BD09 screws. BD08 screws went right here, and BP09 screws went there. Remember, you're going in the plastic here and metal there. I did put oil on those 2 screws, 3-in-1 oil. Now, my LED wire had another wire wrapped around it, and it's like a little extension wire, but we can go ahead and put the LED wire in next. And the LEDs are inserted all the way. Now I can go ahead and put the lens on from the outside. Put the lens on, amber on top, there we go. Perfect. Now let's work on the other parts. Now we're going to install 2 of these hooks on the right hand side on the interior, and they just slot in just like that. Now we're going to install this bracket here on the rear right side, and it's simply just going to slot in those two attachments right there. Just like that. 2 BD09 screws go into this. and they have a flange on them. And there you go, both screws are tight. I'm going to go ahead and install the other one on the other side. There you go. Both of the mounting brackets are installed on both sides. Brought over the chassis. We haven't seen that in a while. We're going to go ahead and mount the bumper to it first, the front bumper. The front bumper, you'll notice on the brackets, there's an angle to it. That's going to be facing towards the bottom, because we could easily put it in that way, but that's the wrong way. It needs to go this way. And that's going to mount right to the chassis just like that. And 2 BD09 screws are going to go into that. And there you go, both screws are in. Now we can go ahead and work on the wiring. Here's the overall view of the chassis. We haven't seen that in a while. Looks great. Give you a little closer view here. Here's the circuit board. We're going to plug in wire number 10 into number 10 position on the circuit board, and that's this right here. Here's our wire number 10. It's one of the long ones, okay, and it only goes in one way, so make sure you check that. It is polarized, as they said. There you go. Wire number 10 is installed. And a little closer view here. I'll go ahead and route these wires the way they want it, and I'll be right back to show you what I did. All the wires are secured to the chassis with these little press-on holders. You can see I ran a total of 9 of them. Running all the way up. And that one's too narrow, but it really doesn't need it. And then finally one on the end. So we're going to do the same thing with wire number 9. I'm going to plug in number 9 into the board on the other side over there, and we're going to run it down this other channel. I'll be right back. And you can see number 9 is plugged in, and that was a long wire just like number 10 was. Run it off terminal 9. We have our wire running now all the way down. To the front. There you go. And lastly, we plug in wires 6, 7, and 8. 6 wires in. And number 7 wire is in. And number 8. And that completes stage 112. Got a lot done here in this pack, and we're very close to the finish. I really enjoyed this pack. This was a lot of fun to assemble. It was very enjoyable. Everything went together like it should have. I had no issues whatsoever with this. So I'll be right back. And there you have it. That completes pack 23 for this build. We're almost done. Looks fantastic. Everything's going together just as planned here, and it looks great. Head over to DeAgostini Collectibles and start your subscription for this today. If you're a Volkswagen fan, this is something you definitely have to have. I put a direct link in the comments below. But it's fantastic. So stay tuned for pack 24. Can't wait to get to that point. And we're almost done. I can give you the final reveal for this when it's all complete. Anyway, if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.